It's good, man. How's yours? Um, do we want to talk about Worlds now, or do you want me to roast you later? Alright. I think my signal's dropping a little. A freak of freaks? What do you mean? Yeah. Yeah, well, you saw Keen's post, right? Yeah, they didn't respect it. Yeah. Nah, yeah. It looked a little rough for them. Right?
I'm so tired of being here, suppressed by all my childish fears.
Yeah, look at that. I've been muted this whole time because I've been...
Damn.
I did recording earlier for the games this week and had to mute my mic for that and never unmuted it in Discord. So hi everybody.
Unlucky. Oh, I should bring up the Twitch chat, huh?
What exactly does Demacia League President do, Dogmar? Oh, I never started the timer. I'm just gonna ignore a timer this week. We're gonna start at 8. It's too late for that.
Yeah.
Because I can't start it in the middle. It's 5 or it's nothing. But yeah, I'd be really curious what the job entails for Demacia League President. Or why Dogmar's even a good candidate for that, but, you know.
Your face it haunts my once pleasant dreams. Your voice it chased away.
With Dogmar as president, you can always count on me. Okay. And that's what Demacia League President is all about. You know, that seems like a pretty good campaign platform, honestly. What do you think, Scrims? I think we lost Scrambles. Scrambles, no.
Are you screen sharing tonight or no?
Oh, I should probably do that now that you're
I mean,
back.
it's fine if you don't.
There you go. I don't know, I've only done this 8 weeks and I can't remember all the stuff I have to do.
Did I lose you?
I don't think so. Are you still here? Uh-oh. Well, this might be an interesting podcast. streaming from the toxic rehab center. Bad Wi-Fi? Yeah, probably. We'll give him another minute or two and see if he can make it like successfully in. If not, we might just be running the solo podcast tonight. Hey Winged, if you would check your messages, if you would. Okay, Scrambles is restarting Discord. We'll see if he comes back in. It says it's a chill mix of music. I don't know exactly what that means. Any luck there, Scrams? Lacks hype? Oh, alright. Sorry guys about the technical difficulties. It'll be just a minute. We have a backup plan already too, so... Okay. Winged, if you would jump into the general chat for me. Or, I mean, I sent you a Discord invite. Wherever that takes you. Sure. Kato, go ahead. Jump on in. We'll make this the team. We'll do the team cast here. Winged and a Kato gonna back me up tonight. Okay, we got one.
Sorry, I'm in a 3v3.
Oh, alright.
Yeah, so if we lose, get ready to be flamed by Jake and Parker.
Sounds good. We'll, okay. There we go. We got everybody. We got the Goon Squad.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nope.
Oh my god, does it sound okay?
Yeah, you're
Give me
a
a
little,
second.
you're a little loud. Let me turn you down.
Yeah, give me just a second.
Okay.
Alright. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. I'm gonna turn you back up
awesome.
just a
How's it
touch.
going?
Not too bad. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and play an intro video, and we'll pretend like we know what we're doing. Oh, I can screen share again with you guys. Let me do that. There's a screen share. that Mike kicked Winged out of his 3v3.
If you're screen sharing, I won't be able to see it, so you'll have to describe to me what's on screen.
Okay. Well, right now there's an intro video playing. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to what is going to be an expertly broadcasted Week 8 of the Get Wrecked Recall. My name's Meristematic. With me this evening, I've got Aikido from Team Propulsion in Diamond, and Wing Nation from my team, The Hardest Road, in Gold. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hey,
Anyway, this week we're going to attempt to recap Super Week and Meme Week. We're going to go over every playoff scenario that can possibly happen this week, at least. We're going to preview Week 8, and then at the very end, we're going to have some Bedlam smack talk between SEAL Team 6's Joe Barrow representing Oklahoma State, and then representing OU, excuse me. Joe Barrow is from OU, and from Oklahoma State we have Silercia and Kilgar. So that should be some fun right at the end, and then they have their match immediately after. So we'll look forward to that and how the smack talk works out. Just to jump right in, Super Week Round 1, Return of the Middle Sticks with the 2-0 over Unlucky Retribution, Killer Whales with the 2-0 over Kansas State, Landsneck 2-0 Deathcap for Cutie, Propulsion with the 2-1 over Team Fish Taco, the forfeit we're going to ignore for now, and Oklahoma Diamond Rush with the 2-1 over Squadobots Roll Out. I had to think of that one for a second. And then Round 2, Unlucky Retribution 2-1 Deathcap for Cutie, Kansas State with the 2-1 over Propulsion, another forfeit, Killer Whales with the 2-0 over Squadobots, and Landsneck with the 2-0 over Oklahoma Diamond Rush. Our first one to focus in on, and one I'm sure Aikido has a lot to say about, Return of the Middle Sticks with the 2-0 win over Unlucky Retribution.
God, that was a series. I watched that shit, and I don't even know what happened. Like, coming into it, I thought there was going to be a really good series, but it looked like you are just like tilted off the face of the earth. Our team played really well. They played really well.
Yeah, Tendies in game number 1 with the 15-2 performance on Evelyn, and then we saw game 2 on stream was kind of the rest of the team picking him up. He had a little bit shakier of a performance on Italy, but he had Demon Print and Fourth Shot there to back him up.
Yeah, I wasn't super impressed with his Nidalee. But his Evelyn I mean, I guess you can't give Tendies Evelyn because he got a couple of kills early and then he just walked around the map killing everyone. It was, it's a good series by our team. Really showing that they deserve to be at the top of the standings. Good for them.
Yeah, and that's 2 straight losses for Unlucky Retribution now. What do you think has gone wrong for them? What aren't they executing on very well?
They have to be tilted as fuck. I mean, so half of this team is GSM from last split. I don't know if you followed it at all, but GSM from last split started out 4-0, and then they lost every single game after that, all the way through playoffs. They ended up finishing 4th. So half that team is from GSM, like Wildy, Player John, and their mid laner. So they have to be having flashbacks. They're just gonna lose every game, I guess. I don't know if there's like an issue with communication in there. It feels like there is. Their bot lane is, losing in the 2v2 every game, and that's so unlike them. Tien Sama and Gavi shouldn't be losing 2v2 to fucking Fourth Shot.
It feels like they shouldn't be losing 2v2 to anybody. It looks like they had a better performance in game number 2. Gavi got pretty fed on the Pyke, but it just wasn't enough to carry the rest of the team through that game.
It really wasn't. I'm not sure if we've seen Gavi on Pyke at all this split. He looked okay on it. It didn't look like the team was super comfortable around it, though. I don't think that they played around it well. And, he picked up some kills here and there, but, that series wasn't as close as it looks, especially even that game 2. Like, I don't know, that definitely felt very one-sided.
Yeah. Our next game to talk about, Killer Whales United with a big statement W, the 2-0 over Kansas State. It's the first middle of the pack team that they've played in a minute, and Killer Whales just continued their run through here. Started 0-1, now 6 straight they've rattled off.
Yeah, no, I think KW is really setting in stone that they deserve to be at the top and that they think that they're the best team. they destroyed KSU, especially at game 2 with the Kazakhs. They end up with like 13 kills or something. It was insane. And he hard carried that game. UPB heard me shit talk him, and he just wanted to prove me wrong, I guess.
Yeah, it's tough. Some of these other top teams, you feel like they have a weaker area of the map that you can kind of expose. If that's for Killer Whales, it might be that bottom lane, but we haven't seen that be exploited by anybody. And this was Yabienda, who we've kind of hyped throughout the entire split as one of the best AD carries, just wasn't able to measure up to Bubble Boy and Crazy Legs.
For sure. And low-key, I even had them listed on it last week, but I think Bubble Boy is one of the better ADCs in the whole league. So I don't know. KW looks really good. I guess maybe you can try and snowball through their bot lane. I know Bubble Boy sometimes tilts a little bit, has some bad games. Maybe that's the key. I don't know. They're just too consistent in their other roles.
Yeah, and for Kansas State, it was a rougher week in total for them, but having 2 subs come in doesn't really help bring that confidence, even coming off of the win over UR last week.
Agreed. And I know that Yabiendo was having connection issues all week long, and I don't know, just not what they were looking for. I don't think coming in, they're likely to play KWU, in playoffs. This is a matchup that's going to be repeated later on. I don't think that KSU did quite as well as they were hoping for.
Yeah, and if not in playoffs, even in ULAW, both of these teams basically in the same region for their collegiate play. Killer Whales, of course, representing Kansas Wesleyan, and in Kansas State, most of that team is represented here. So it may be a statement coming forward that even Kansas State might have trouble going into that collegiate scene a little bit.
Maybe so.
Yeah, our next matchup, Landsneck with the 2-0 over Deathcap for Cutie. This is the expected result, I would say, but it was a good performance for Landsneck to have, and one that's going to build a little bit more confidence in them going forward.
100%. Like that's a game that you can't lose if you're Landsneck. Because right now they're looking towards playoffs, and if you can't beat Deathcap for Cutie, I don't know if you deserve to be in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, Parallelogram tried his hardest in game number 2, the 8-7 on Aatrox, but not able to pull that rest of the team forward. And I know we were talking last week, kind of a little bit perplexed at why Deathcap has had such a difficult split, but still not able to really put that game together fully.
Yeah, and even this week, like, Marco Rubio had a couple of good games. I don't know if it was in this series or if it was in their other one, but they just, even if they're looking a little bit better every week, they're just not able to pull out W's. And I don't know what's going on with that team. It's really, really disappointing.
All right, our next series, one that I'm sure you'll want to talk about a little bit, but Propulsion with the 2-1 over Team Fish Taco. I'll just let you go ahead and say it.
So it says 2-1, but we lost game 1 because we may have 5-man face checked into them at level 1 and given their Yasuo ADC like 3 kills. Maybe that's what happened. But then, we came back and won the second game in 24 minutes and the third game in 22 minutes with a combined 4 deaths between the two of them for us.
Yeah, I was going to say almost the perfect game in game number 3.
Yeah, I think our top laner entered a little bit. He had like 1 death. Oh my god. So everyone knows we're looking for a new top laner, one that won't feed like that. But no, it was they did a really good job of snowballing through bot. That's what we had talked about was Demon Repent was really their win condition. And that game they got Yasuo ahead and he hard carried that game. We ended up stalling it out, sealing a Baron, but it wasn't enough. So yeah, if they can get a lead through the bot lane, they can carry it out. But when we started playing standard and not inting at level 1, it wasn't as close.
But that was a really important win, tied up in the standings at that point. I don't know the chronology of which games happened when, but if we're looking at it as first round then second round, that's an even in the standings then at 5-2 with both teams with another game ahead of them in Super Week.
For sure. And for TFT, this is the third team in a row. They played the last 2 weeks against teams in the top 6. This is the third one. They've lost all 3, I believe. Is that right? Or maybe they've only lost 2.
They're 5-2. It's just 2 losses so far for them.
Okay. So then they lost last week, and then they lost this week to Propulsion. Like, they have a hard schedule coming out, so they really need to start pulling out some wins and make sure they do make it into playoffs. Because right now they're sitting at the top of the standings, but
Yeah, I'll go ahead and spoiler.
We'll
Their other game this week was a forfeit win over Golden Gatekeepers. We don't need to keep that one secret. So they're sitting at 6-2 coming out of Super Week, but they do have.
How did they beat the Titans that are Golden Gatekeepers? That's insane.
But they do have 3 tough games remaining on their schedule, which we'll get to a little bit later. Our next game, Oklahoma Diamond Rush with a 2-1 win over Squadobots rollout. It's a de facto elimination game, basically. Oklahoma Diamond Rush with the win put themselves in a position where they can theoretically climb into the standings, and Squadobots are all but eliminated after this one.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot to talk about, but OGR's, they're right on the edge there. They're holding in it. They still have playoff hope.
Yeah, it was game 1 that was on stream. We saw Phoenix Glory. Looks like a really good pickup for Squadobots. He was rolling on the vein, but the wombo combo that Oklahoma Diamond Rush played, the Zach Orn Brand combo, just melted everything during team fights, and it didn't seem like Squadobots had a way to play the split push game, even with some of those split push champions that they had. They had the Vayne and the Udyr. So it's difficult if you don't play to your own win conditions or play away from your enemy's win conditions in that way.
Absolutely. If they have that much AoE, that much CC, that much wombo, it's I don't think you ever group up against that. Screw that.
Into the second rotation of games, Unlucky Retribution with the 2-1 over Deathcap for Cutie. Unfortunately, Deathcap for Cutie showing a little bit of life during this game, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, and that's another one that was game 2 that Deathcap for Cutie ended up pulling out, and they kind of rolled over UR. Like, UR pulls it out in the end. They end up getting the W for the week. But dropping a game to Deathcap for Cutie, especially after losing the last 2 weeks, I can't imagine that they have a good mentality coming into the next week, because that's just they have to be expecting to do a lot better than that. And that second game was really ugly.
Yeah, I don't remember which game was streamed from this. I might not have caught it, so I'm gonna plead ignorance on that one. But a lot of returning to basics, it looks like, from Unlucky Retribution. We see Tien Sama have some pretty good score lines throughout the series, was able to perform. Maybe you just need to get back to that sort of basic play and start looking to get Tien Sama and Gavi ahead.
For sure, and just coming back to it, UR's bot lane the last few weeks has been, they keep losing 2v2, or they aren't warding for ganks, and once they fall behind, it's so hard for them to come back into the game. And I think that's something that they really need to work on if they want to continue to be at the top of the standings, especially coming into playoffs.
Yeah. Our next one, the 2-1 for Kansas State over Propulsion. Again, I'll let you kind of go ahead and talk about this. You called in your 13th man, Zelced. He played pretty well.
Yeah, I think the game 1 by like 10 minutes. He had like 7 kills. We had a huge lead game 1. Ended up throwing it by a couple people getting caught out, which led to them getting Baron, which led to a couple more people getting caught out, and then they just ended the game, which was really unfortunate because I think that we played a lot better in that game. Game 2, I'm pretty sure you can ignore that one. That was a meme game. And then game 3, we had another early lead, and then they just sort of scaled up. They hit their power spikes. Cassidy started to become a problem. Jax, like, he was 0-4, but then he hit 4 items, and it was just that one was painful.
Yeah.
Really, I think that with the leads, Propulsion showed that they can definitely they have the ability to take games off of KSU, but they just have to perform a lot better. They have to execute down the stretch.
Yeah, and for KSU, again, going through the sub-rotation just a little bit, Yab, I know, had a lot of connection issues after game 1. They subbed him out for game 2 and 3. And I don't know that you put Vibon on Hecarim Jungle again. I'm pretty sure that was Hecarim Jungle. Yeah, he got 9 kills but he couldn't he didn't make a huge impact the rest of the map. It felt like,
It was
and then they
Hecarim
remixed it.
jungle, and they threw Koala mid on Camille, and Vladimir bot. It was an interesting. It was interesting. It's a shame that one couldn't have been.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting. How is Heck 949? I guess I missed some deaths. I don't know what I did. Stats man. We'll pretend like it's someone else just messed up there. I'll look back at that and fix it up. But
that stats person, you know.
let me make a note to myself here. Stats. G2. KSU. Pro. All right, we'll look at it again. That's probably like all you sent me like 3 stat corrections for your team. That's probably where they all came from right there. Anyway, moving on. Killer Whales United with a 2-0 over Squattobots rollout. This was the first place team again, just kind of asserting their authority. They played a Victor Fiddlesticks bottom lane, still demolished. Like I don't know what's going to stop Killer Whales United, but that's a bottom lane, I guess.
I mean, I don't know if they maybe their overconfidence will lead to them dropping the series. Because I think that's all that you can call that is overconfidence if you're running a Victor Fiddle bot. Didn't they run Zed mid that game?
Yes.
I think what happened was they early picked the Victor, and then the enemy ended up picking a good matchup for Zed. And then they were like, wait, we could just throw Victor bot. So I think they late picked Zed just to get that counter pick.
Yeah, game 1 was, again, almost a perfect game. There's 2 deaths for Irelia, but only 1 kill for Squattobots, and I'm pretty sure that's actually correct. So I'm going to assume that Irelia executed at some point. So almost the perfect game for Killer Whales. But yeah, somebody else, Squattobots roll out of the playoffs. They're not quite out yet. We'll go over that in just a minute. But they are right on the cusp. I think this is our last game of the Super Week. It's Lance Neck with a 2-0 over Oklahoma Diamond Rush. OGR, they have some fighting spirit in them. You can definitely tell they're not rolling over to these top teams, but they also just aren't playing well enough to win the game.
For sure. I mean, I don't, but that was a must-win, I think, for both of those teams. OGR, they did show up, but it wasn't quite enough. But I mean, at least they showed some life, and they're technically still in the running, so that's a good thing. But coming down the stretch, like Sneck was the team that they were hoping to eke out, so we'll see how that ends up shaking out.
Yeah, the last results, all the forfeit wins, basically. 100 Steves were gifted the 2-0 over Golden Gatekeepers. Neither team realized that they had to play a second game during the week, so but 100 Steves attempted to schedule it on the last day, so we gave them the 2-0 over Golden Gatekeepers.
Wait.
There's your inside information. Return of the Middle Sticks with the 2-0 over 100 Steves, and Team Fish Taco with the 2-0 over Golden Gatekeepers. I didn't put the FF next to it, but it was. They actually had a match time for that game, and then 2 of the 5 players showed up for GGK. Kind of tragic. So
I mean, 2's better than none, I guess.
just our super weak standings, which I see a typo on the bottom of it, but that's okay. Our 2-0 teams during Super Week were KWU, Landsneck, and Return of the Middle Sticks. The important one to point out there is Landsneck with that 2-0 makes the standings just a complete shit show rather than just like half of one. And then our 1-1 teams all kind of differentiated based on game score, but Team Fish Taco, Propulsion, 100 Steves, Kansas State, OGR, and Unlucky Retribution. Basically realize if you're under 100 Steves who didn't actually play a game last week, that's kind of funny. And then Deathcap for Cutie, Squattobots Rollout, and GGK both had the unlucky 0-2 weeks. Or all 3 had the unlucky 0-2 weeks. What that means? Well, never mind. Diamond Players of the Week. We went ahead and picked 2 of them this week because there were so many games. Both of them wound up being junglers, but our first Diamond Player of the Week is Landsneck's jungler, King Shack Daddy. He went 27, 10, and 39 in 4 games, played against Deathcap for Cutie and OGR. It was the performance that Landsneck needed in order to step up. Had some big games on Talia and Shaco, and then just kind of did what his team needed on Xin Zhao.
I think the big thing there is that he pulled out the Talia and showed that he can play it, and he did really well on it. That's the first time he's pulled it out, but it makes it a lot harder to ban him out because previously, if you're looking at him, you're like, okay, he plays like Shaco, plays a little bit of Xin Shao, a couple of tanks, so maybe we can target ban him. But if he's pulling out other carries, he also plays like Graves and Talia. It's a lot harder to hit his champion bull, I think.
Yeah, and again, this was Landsneck kind of on the precipice. If they'd lost either of these games against Deathcap for Cutie and OGR, they're all of a sudden sitting a game outside of playoffs, and they'll probably be sitting at home in 2 weeks. So very big wins for them. Our other Diamond Player of the Week, this was picked before we had all of the technical difficulties, so I swear I'm not just like catering to him, but it's Hikato. 42, 15, and 37 in 6 games versus Team Fish Taco and KSU, which is good competition. Had probably the best statistical week of any player. I'll just talk about you for a little bit here, but really big performances on Kindred and Talia and Kha'Zix, and then doing okay in losses, which happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was the best statistical performance of the week in one where a lot of teams showed some flaws. I could have picked somebody from KWU, but they won it last week, and they also played like 2 meme games. So yeah, you'll have to deal with that one. Our diamond standings after Super Week: Killer Whales United lead the table at 7-1. Return to the Middle Sticks, Team Fish Taco, and Unlucky Retribution are tied in second at 6-2. Kansas State, Landsneck, and Propulsion all tied for 5th technically. This is all broken down based on tiebreakers, which, again, if you need reminding, are head-to-head followed by game score. If there's a 3-way tie at the end and everybody has head-to-head against each other, game score is the tiebreaker. In most of these cases, only one of the teams have played head-to-head, so they get the... Anyway, I'm not going to really explain it. This is just the order they're in. Oklahoma Diamond Rush is in 8th, and 100 Thieves and Squattobots are tied for 9th. Deathcap for Cutie and Golden Gatekeepers, you can see they're highlighted in red. That means we get to, unfortunately, say goodbye to some teams this week.
Before we do that, are we able to look at a couple of the standings on there? Can I point out a couple?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I think the big ones are CFT and UR. They're both tied for second at 6-2. Is that right?
Yes.
So the big thing is that both of these teams are actually coming off of some bad weeks. TFT just got their last 2 losses, and the Super Week and then the week previous, and they have a hard schedule. And then UR's coming off of a lot of bad losses, dropping a game to DFC. So it'll be really interesting to see at the end of this week to see if they're able to, stay tied for second, or if they're on their way down the ladder, because I think they really need to shape up if they continue playing like they had the last couple of weeks. We're not sure if they'll stay up there.
Yeah, and you can see Propulsion and Landsneck and KSU both had, all 3 of those teams had pretty good performances in Super Weeks. They're right there, sitting just outside that bubble, looking for that spot. So if you're not careful,
For sure.
your
I
Team
don't
Fish
think...
Taco or Unlucky Retribution, you could fall out of the playoffs still.
Yeah, I don't think that anyone can sleep up there. Everything's so close together. One of those teams in the top 7 is gonna not make it to playoffs. And right now I think it's like Propulsion that's listed there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
All right. With that out of the way, now a little bit of solemnity. Get your F's out in chat. Unfortunately, some teams departing from us. Golden Gatekeepers. I'm not really sure what to say about them. They had my college roommate on them, so I can't trash talk them too much, but they didn't win a single game this split. Finished 0-8. They did take one single game, one bright shining moment in an otherwise bleak season, to enhance that game score, but they also just haven't showed up for most of their games since then. So unfortunately, Golden Gatekeepers going to be gatekept, and they're headed back to gold. And unfortunately, that's not all. We must also say goodbye to Deathcap for Cutie. Deathcap for Cutie was a team we had a lot of expectations for coming into this season, and they failed to meet every single one of them. They received a forfeit win, and that's been it. Yeah. So both of those teams no longer with us. They've been officially eliminated. You can see my expert photo editing skills with the X's over the Deathcap eyes. Anyway, even more memes to follow as we discuss Cross Week for gold. The only results of the games that were played are right here. Piltover Pokes with a 2-0 over Hardest Road. Propulsion versus with the 2-1 over Tastes Like Purple. Ghost with a 2-1 over GSM. Oklahoma Gold Rush with the 2-0 over Omega Wolves, and Power Flashes with the 2-0 over Jingo Squad. Winged, if you are still existing.
Nope.
Okay.
Always dead.
Well, do you have anything you'd like to say about Super Week?
About Super Week or okay.
Yeah, individual matchups if you want to. This is the only slide I have for Cross. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was like, I didn't know if you actually wanted stuff about Cross Week because that was a meme and a half.
Yes.
Don't really have much to add into Super outside of I kind of enjoy how intense that like race for playoffs is there. Best of luck to the teams that like are fighting for that spot, but that's all I got for you.
Yeah. Cross Week was a little bit of a meme. Some teams tried really hard, some teams didn't. It showed somewhat in some of the preparations. I know Jingo Squad pulled out some interesting team compositions versus Power Flashes in a game we got to cast. Other than that, a lot of actually pretty closely contested series. Especially the Ghost GSM and TLP Propulsion series were both very close and very competitive, and it looked like both teams were using that to get some more scrim time for themselves, even if it was a little bit more public, whereas some of the other teams were just sliding by. We personally rolled in about I think it was 5 minutes after the game time was supposed to be with a sub, and without any prepared picks and bans, and just kind of winged it, and it showed in us getting completely demolished by Piltover Pokes. So
Absolutely.
completely congratulations to them. They definitely outplayed us for 2 games in a row. Not to make excuses. We definitely played pretty bad, but they also played very well and deserved the win that doesn't mean anything. Our gold standings, just to refresh for the time being, Hardest Road, or we're going to start with Noxus. Hardest Road's in first at 5-0. Propulsion 4-1 in second. The 3-way tie between Ghost, Omega Wolves, and Bingo Squad at 3-2 needs to be mentioned. Jingo Squad, we unfortunately eliminated them last week when they're still statistically alive. So you can see that they are now white on the screen rather than red. And I personally apologize to every member of Jingo Squad for that. I mentioned to their captain that I'd made that mistake. But they are still alive. Landsneck is not, because they can't make up game score. So rip Landsneck. Indigo Sky is in last. In Demacia, meanwhile, Piltover Pokes undefeated. Look like a very strong contender for LAN. TLP at 4-1. GSM and OGR tied at 3-2. SEAL Team 6 and Power Flashes at 2-3. Vicious and Delicious still statistically hanging in there at 1-4, and 100 Steves in last. With that said, Jingo Squad now back from the dead. We probably should have gone for the head to eliminate them, as it turns out. But Jingo Squad very much alive. We'll cover this scenario that they need to qualify for playoffs. And again, I apologize for eliminating them last week. They are still statistically alive. Ikato, you're back up because that was all for Diamond or for Gold recap.
Hey, real quick, Winged is in here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say that I know literally nothing about Gold Capped, except that you're fucking smurfing down there. Like, your Vel'Koz is insane. Holy shit.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say is that I watch almost zero Gold Capped, but damn, you're crushing it down there. Sorry, we can
thank
go
you.
on.
Okay. Our week 8 preview then for Diamond, the week after the Super Week. Time to relax a little bit for some of these teams and to turn it back up to 11 for others. Propulsion versus Unlucky Retribution going to be the big headlining match that we'll get to in just a second. Deathcap for Cutie versus 100 Steves. Squadobots roll out versus Kansas State. Return to the Middle Sticks versus Oklahoma Diamond Rush. Golden Gatekeepers versus Killer Whales United, which we'll just ignore for the rest of the broadcast. And Team Fish Taco versus Landsneck. So yeah, our featured match, Propulsion versus Unlucky Retribution. This one's pretty big. If Unlucky Retribution loses this, continues their slide down the standings, they'll be tied with Propulsion after this game. It's a difficult one. I know you're a little bit biased here, Ikato, but what are you looking for in this game?
I mean, the big thing for me, like, I think that UR has to win through bottom lane. Like, I think that Tien Sama and Gavi need to get out of their funk, and that's their win condition, I think. Maybe Dr. Wilding needs to spend a lot of time down there, uh, getting them ahead, because they can't keep losing solo. But for Propulsion, I mean, I think that there's a mismatch in the jungle there. Um, and are Tori and Sif the mid laner, or what's his name now? Saber?
Saber.
I think
Yeah.
that's Saber. Sorry, all my guys' name change. It's hard to keep up. He's quietly becoming one of the better mid laners in the league, I think. Like he only joined us like week 4 or week 5. And I think he's been playing extremely well, keeping up, if not outperforming a lot of the mid laners that we have been playing against. And I think that might have to look for him to get a lead there in the mid lane against DC Decay.
Yeah, Sad Dumb Loser, I think, is the current name for the AD carry. It's the one that I have on record, at least, so that's what we went with this week for Jack. But yeah, this is going to be a big clash, and the team that wins will be kind of comfortably sitting in that playoff contention. You can see the remaining schedule for those teams. UR has a big game against Fish Taco next week, but other than that, it's the bottom of the standings for both of these two teams remaining. So you kind of expect the wins to come in for both of them. Coming forward. Maybe not the TFT game. We'll have to see where both of those teams stack up next week. But yeah, Propulsion, this is kind of the last hurdle. If they can get over it, you think that Propulsion looks pretty comfortable in that playoff picture.
Agreed. There's a lot of teams in the top 6 there that have some really cushy end of season schedules. So like KW, KSU, ROTM. Like none of those teams should drop a win. So it's kind of the rest of the teams trying to pick up wins where they can to stay near the top. And I think that UR or Propulsion, either one that drops this probably isn't feeling too good, because that means that there's a chance that they get hurdled by like Snek. And I don't think that that's where you want to be. You don't want to be at the bottom of the playoff run. This late in the split.
Our other featured match this week, again, kind of the same scenario. It's Team Fish Taco versus Landsneck. Fish Taco has, I think, the definite hardest remaining schedule. They have Landsneck this week, Unlucky Retribution the week after, and Return of the Middlesticks to finish it off. They need a win, maybe 2 out of that group of 3 in order to be in the playoff picture.
Yeah, I'm going to make the prediction now that whichever team loses this matchup, TFT versus Snek, isn't going to make playoffs. I think whichever team loses is going to be the 7th man. They're going to be the 7th team, and they're just not going to make.
Yeah, Landsneck has Golden Gatekeepers next week, which a win. We'll just chalk that one up. And then Killer Whales in the last week. If you're coming down to the wire and you need a win against Killer Whales in the last week, that's maybe not the team that I'm going to bet on.
Then again, KW is the team that's maybe a little overconfident. Maybe going into the last week, they have the bye clinch, not a lot on the line. Maybe they troll a little bit, or maybe they don't show up. Maybe that's what we should bank on. So if you're a Snek fan, bank on KWU winning the next 2 weeks and then just not showing up in the final week.
Yeah. Our last chance preview, I guess. Squadobots rollout need to win this game or they're eliminated as they take on Kansas State this week. Squadobots do not have a friendly remainder of the schedule, and they need to win all 3 games in order to have a chance at tie-breaking a whole bunch of teams. The new rosters looked better. Well, better than forfeiting, for sure. I don't know if they're better necessarily than the old roster, but is it good enough to challenge Kansas State? That sounds like a resounding no from Mikado. So,
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Now I can, yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I cut out there. I didn't hear what you said. Run that back by me. Sorry.
I was going to ask if the new look Squadobots have any chance to challenge Kansas State in this game.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Have you seen Squadobots? They have some life in them. They lost their sweet anime thighs and went to a bit more mechanical, but they have some life in them. I think maybe they're looking to pull out a couple of wins, show that with their new lineup they're a contender. Maybe it's a little late in the split, but I think they could pull off a win.
Yeah, they do have the definite spoiler tag right now. It, I don't think the miracle run is quite in them, but you take a game off of one of these teams, that could be the team that's sitting outside. You feel pretty proud of yourself for ruining someone else's season too. So a little bit to play for, at least for Squadobots going forward. For Kansas State, they're looking just to make it business as usual. They're actually, I believe they're the lowest of the tied teams right now in game score, so a 2-0 would go a long way for them in this matchup. They have the easiest remaining schedule of any team. They have 100 Steves, Golden Gatekeepers, and Squadobots this week. If you're Kansas
Yeah,
State, you're looking to go 3-0 and you're looking for 2-0s all those weeks, and you're just not going to sweat it. You'll be sitting there at 8-3 at the end.
and I think there's a couple of teams there that you might get a couple of forfeits. That's all I'm saying. A couple of those teams maybe don't show up. But KSU's tied for second right now, right? Then that three-way tie with UR and TFT.
Nope, they're tied with you guys and Sneck at
Oh
5.
shit.
Yep.
KSU is?
Yep.
Oh well, I mean, again, they're gonna pick up 3 wins. Like if they don't, it's an act of God. If they lose any of these games and they end up not making playoffs, that would literally be the best thing ever. Can we just say that? Like not even nothing against KSU, but like that story would just be amazing. I don't know. Maybe we all need to, believe a little bit in SRO, 100 Steves, and GGK.
Yeah, our other last chance game here. If 100 Steves can pull out the win over Deathcap for Cutie, they're statistically not eliminated. They do have some difficult schedule remaining. They also don't really have players on their roster, so that's going to make it difficult for them. But I just thought I'd highlight that they could win this game and not be eliminated this week, and maybe survive one more. Our another game this week, we have Return of the Middle Sticks versus Oklahoma Diamond Rush. Return of the Middle Sticks looking just to kind of ease their way into playoffs. They have this game plus Squadobots and then Team Fish Taco to round out the standings, or to round out the season. Oklahoma Diamond Rush realistically needs all 3 wins against Return of the Middle Sticks, Killer Whales, and Deathcap for Cutie. One of those is certainly possible. The other 2 are going to be difficult for them.
Yeah, I think Deathcap for Q is going to be really hard for them. KW is free. But no, OGR is they have a tough road ahead of them. Really have a tough road, especially with our team this week. Like, I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah. The other match is probably a forfeit win for Killer Whales over Golden Gatekeepers. Our playoff scenarios. This is what you guys don't pay me to do, and I did a lot of math, and hopefully this is right, and we don't have another Jinko squad. Killer Whales United clinch playoffs. They need a win and a Landsneck loss specifically because they have tiebreakers over the other 5-3 teams. If both of those things happen, they're in. If only one of them happens, like if they win and Landsneck also wins, then they'll be pretty much in the same position next week, except if they win, they're in. You're feeling good if you're Killer Whales. Just know that you basically need 1 or 2 wins. You're guaranteed that, and if you get all 3, you're first seed. Squadobots. They're eliminated with a loss, or if 2 of the 5-3 teams win. So you're rooting against KSU, Propulsion, and Landsneck this week. You're playing KSU, so that one's kind of a given. If you win, KSU loses, so that you need either Propulsion or Landsneck to lose. And then 100 Steves, also eliminated with a loss, or if KSU wins, or if Propulsion and Landsneck both win, even if KSU loses. That might be a little bit complicated. I'm just going to leave it up so you can capture phrasing if you guys need it. But yeah, this is my math. Hopefully that's right. The last one, Oklahoma Diamond Rush is eliminated if they lose and 2 of the 5-3 teams win. Okay. Week 8 preview. James, if you're back alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Demacia Gold. We've got Power Flashes versus Vicious and Delicious. Gecko Slammer Armageddon versus 100 Steves. Tastes Like Purple versus Oklahoma Gold Rush. SEAL Team 6 versus Piltover Pokes. Our featured match of the week is going to be TLP versus OGR. How do you see this game playing out, Winged?
Is probably just gonna go battle of the bottom lane here. I mean, that's the classic TLP strat is death ball and let the better bottom lane win. Nothing against Devranga and Ivory, still one of probably the more consistent bottom lanes in our league, but No Mind is my guess is probably a top 3 AD carry in the league. And Panther really has been looking a lot better this season compared to previous seasons. Uh, so I would probably put that TLP favored. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to cast that game on Saturday morning. I'm looking forward to it. Should be a pretty good one, honestly. These are two kind of vintage teams from OKLCS and a lot of players who've been around going head to head once again with some playoff implications on the line. Not the biggest game. Both of them are pretty, I don't want to say cozy in the top of the standings, but they're not in danger of being eliminated with a loss. Our last chance game, Power Flashes versus Vicious and Delicious. Vicious and Delicious needs the win in order to stay alive. Power Flashes can still statistically be alive with a loss, but you don't want that. Ideally, if you're looking for that playoff spot, both teams just on the outside looking in. Um, if you're Vicious and Delicious, what are you looking to attack out of Power Flashes?
I mean, it's been you shut down Worganites because when we seem to be casting them, it's always been like either Paladins popping off or Worganites popping off or both. So if you basically keep those two individuals, probably more so Worganite than Paladin, then you at least control the game and can control the tempo and wait for the others to make a mistake.
Yeah.
Of course, we still don't know what they're going to do with their roster, or what Vicious and Delicious will do since they continue to swap people all over the place. But we'll find out on the cast as well.
Yep. SEAL Team 6 versus Piltover Pokes, another important match. Uh, Way more important for SEAL Team 6 than it is for Piltover Pokes. Yeah, if you're SEAL Team 6, do you think that there's some sort of strategy you can play to take down the Pokes?
Heimel versus the world.
You trust in the Heimel.
Trust in the Heimel.
We got we got Scrambles back anyway.
Yeah, I mean, so what? Yeah, we got Scrambles back anyway. I mean, to be fair, you put Heimel on an aggressive jungler, let him catch out Brenticus a couple times. Even during our 0-2 loss, at least definitely game one, Brenticus had a really rough early game in that game one, and I feel like Heimel's one of the players that would be able to punish him, get himself to a lead on a carry jungler, then get the Jobero ahead, and then let them run around the map and get the rest of their team up.
Yeah, we'll get to hear from a couple of members from both of these teams coming up in just a couple of minutes. Hopefully, we'll rush through the rest of this so we can get to them with plenty of time for them to get to the game. So, this game not really important for 100 Steves. They're already eliminated, but for Gecko Slammer Armageddon, they need that win over 100 Steves, ideally at a 2-0, in order to further their playoff credentials, basically.
Yeah, I mean, not much to add here. Steve's having a rough season. What are we, Steve 12, Steve 13 coming up soon? Or have they exceeded that?
Playoff scenarios for Demacia specifically. Piltover Pokes clinch number 1 seed with a win or a TLP loss. Tastes Like Purple clinch a playoff spot with a win. If they lose, there's still a bunch of weird tiebreakers that could happen, so don't do that. But yeah, kind of cut and dry for those two teams. Vicious and Delicious is eliminated from playoffs if they lose, or if GSM and OGR win. And then SEAL Team 6 is eliminated from playoffs with a loss, and GSM and OGR wins. Power Flashes are eliminated with a loss, and OGR and GSM wins. Feels like I'm repeating myself because I am. Those are the same scenarios. Gecko Slammer Armageddon clinch the playoffs with a win, and if Power Flashes and ST6 loses, and the exact same thing for Oklahoma Gold Rush. These teams have kind of the 3 and 2 teams are looking for both of the 2 and 3 teams to win. I don't know if I said that backwards, but yeah, basically, if you're on top, you want the 2 teams below you to lose. If you're below, you want the 2 teams above you to lose. Good. For week 8 for Noxus, Ghost versus Jingo Squad, Bingo Squad versus Hardest Road, Indigo Sky versus the Landsneck, Propulsion versus Omega Wolves. Our featured match is going to be Propulsion versus Omega Wolves. I spelled Luke incorrectly, so that's actually kind of cool. If you're Omega Wolves, how are you looking to target Propulsion in order to pick up the W?
This is of course assuming Propulsion has their full roster back. and this is the thing, because Propulsion's recently shown a little bit of flexibility in their lanes. The Siren switching mid with the Echo pick, Mayhuli in the jungle on Kane. If anything, I almost would want to play through top. Mercury X has been playing relatively well these past couple weeks, and Drodvir has made a decent amount of mistakes for being one of the higher ranked top laners in the league. Maybe not able to solo carry as Mercury, but that would be at least one area I would be paying attention to if I was a Mega Wolves.
Our other featured match, featuring the new Bingo Squad gaming logo, courtesy of Kilgar, is
Yes, that's fantastic, Kilgar.
Bingo Squad versus the Hardest Road. I actually we're pretty biased here on the desk, so we're not going to talk a whole lot about this one other than I think Bingo Squad is a lot better than the record indicates, and we'll have to see how they stack up for playoffs.
Yeah, like this was the matchup that's probably been stressing me more than any of the others recently.
Yeah.
Like, actually was really worried about it.
Our last chance game, Ghost versus Jingo Squad. Jingo Squad needs the wins in order to stay alive. Ghost, meanwhile, they're sitting in third, but it's not very comfortable, honestly. They have game score over most of the other teams below them, but it really could go all bad for them very quickly if they're not careful.
Yeah. Ghost still's like repetitively shown that they just are willing to commit to stuff as a team. Past couple of weeks has been really hit or miss, I guess, from almost minute to minute with Jingo Squad. Sometimes you'll have like fantastic 5-man Zac ults that let you wipe even when you have an 80 carry Thresh. Other times it's like, what are you doing there, guys?
Yeah, so we'll have to see if Jingo Squad can put it all together and stay alive in Noxus. The other match is Indigo Sky versus Lanceneck, the two bottom dwellers. Should be an exciting game, but one that we don't need to devote a whole lot of time to on the podcast. Hardest Road can clinch the number 1 seed with a win or propulsion lost. Jingo Squad is eliminated if they lose or if Omega Wolves and Bingo win. Propulsion can clinch playoffs with a win or losses by 3 other teams. The easier one is just to win. Don't stress me out. Yeah, we finally made it to the interview. Yeah, we did it. I'm gonna pull everybody in.
Yay.
No, he did.
Ah!
start.
I've just pulled you all in.
Oh.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hello.
We're
That
all
was quick.
really crowded here in the podcast.
That spooked me.
Yeah,
Let me
this is
mute the
it's a large
podcast.
podcast.
Oh, it's echoing.
Yeah, I muted mine already.
All right.
All right. Did we all make it? Are we all good?
I
Can
Can you
believe
guys
so.
hear me?
Yes.
I'm here.
Okay.
Cool.
So hello everybody. If you'll go through and introduce yourselves, this is Kilgar and Celercia from Piltover Pokes and Joe Barrow from SEAL Team 6. Kilgar, go ahead and start.
I'm Kilgar, Piltover Pokes. Many of you know me. I've played a decent amount of games with some of the people in OKLCS and some of the other ones who don't want to play with me anymore. But anyways, yeah, that's me. I'm mid lane. The Echo in the mid lane.
All right, and
That's all I
Celercia.
got.
Hi, I'm Piltover Poke Support, Celercia. That's about it.
Okay, and Joe Barrow.
And I'm Joe Barrow. This is my last year at OU, and I'm a mid laner, and I'm better than Mayhuli.
Facts.
Just a little bit. He's respectable.
So now that we hopefully have everybody's voices in order, we can look at specifically Kilgar and Celercia. I just wanted to ask how OSU got involved in OKLCS and how you guys are enjoying your first split with us.
Oh, that's a
Um,
Kilgar thing.
I've actually kind of kept up with OKLCS for about the last year and a half, and I always thought it would have been a fun thing to do. I never really went out of my way to get in it myself because I whenever I play competitive, I do like to play competitive with people I know, just because there is a level of respect if your teammates don't have it. It's hard to like last week or the week before when I was hard inting, if I was with people I didn't know, they're gonna be like, God, this guy sucks. So and
Did that stop
so there's
it?
a level of respect you want with your teammates. So I've been wanting to get into it, and this is definitely the first year that I found people at OSU, thankfully, who want to play, and so that's how I kind of figured out about it.
And then Joe Barrow, you've been around basically since the beginning. Is that right?
Was in last spring split when OU just started their esports program, and we did rotated rosters, and I played one game on platinum, and then the last week I was on the gold team, and we won it, and then we got the playoffs, and then we got smacked by what's his name, the old top laner that thought he ran this league. Can't think of his name right now.
The legend
He's
John
gone now.
McCloud.
The legend of John McCloud. Yeah.
So you guys are set up. Then this week we have the Bedlam week, I guess, for OKLCS with
Essentially.
the
Oh,
de
man.
facto OU team and the de facto OSU team playing each other. I guess Winged and I, the other gold representatives here, are kind of outsiders to Oklahoma. What's the big deal behind Bedlam, and is there any bad blood between your two teams because of it?
Well, I mean, previous years, I think I've personally received kind of bad words from some OU people in previous years, but a lot of it honestly revolves around our football teams, and this year we both suck, so there's really definitely not as much
I don't know if
bad
we
blood.
still suck. I think Oklahoma State has dropped off a lot. I think OU still has a chance to prove themselves.
Okay.
But losing to Iowa State is not what we
Iowa
like to
State was
see,
pretty
even
bad.
though we did the same thing
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So,
But 3 Big 12 championships in a row. I haven't been here since we lost to OSU, so
keeping
it's not
it
really
out
much.
of
It's not really much of a rivalry. It's more like
Yeah.
a big brother, little brother thing.
keeping it out of football. I haven't really talked too much to the OU guys though, not as much as I would like, honestly. So, but I would say there's a little bit of, I don't want to lose to OU because Vid would never let me hear the end of it. So, I'm gonna bring it.
That's true.
Yeah, that's about as much bad blood as we've got, is not wanting to hear Vid trash talk. I'm already hearing the killed Gars now.
Yeah, that's respectable. I don't like hearing Vid trash talk my Scion ults either, so gotta-
He trash
That
talks
guy does
everybody.
not let up. Jesus
No, he does not.
He trash talked his own
crap.
teammates.
Like, obviously he never gets personal, like, so I'm not really offended by it, but oh my god, is he
think it's
like a
pretty funny.
non-stop waterfall of
It's mostly due to the fact that he enjoys about 2 drinks a game. So over the course of the
Oh,
game,
really?
he'll get more and more aggressive.
off camera. I see.
When he's dancing.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yeah, I heard something about this Vid dancing. What's the deal with that?
yeah.
I don't know about any dancing.
Oh,
I know he's a wrecker of ohms.
okay. I was upset to not see the Suicide in our game last week, Meristematic.
It was banned every game, wasn't it?
It might have been, actually, now that I think about it. We were told before we played you that we should probably get that Scion out of there.
My Mastery 3 Scion was a little
Yeah.
bit terrifying.
Well, I mean, from the games I've played in top lane of Scion, it's so brain dead. If the person can play it, you probably want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, Joe Barrow, I guess I know a little bit. A couple of us are confused about the relationship. Is there a relationship between ST6 and OU, or is it just kind of separate?
Well, so OU's esports organization was gonna drop out of the OKLCS this year to just focus on getting like the gold teams ready for the college like World Series, whatever, for league.
C-Star.
And they wanted us to have like 15 hours a week of practice. And as gold players that aren't invested too much in the game, we all said no, and we kept our whole roster together except for Vid, who left us.
From what I heard from Hunger Bunger, you guys have to like include exercise in that, right?
Yeah, 15 hours.
Yeah,
a week.
that ain't happening.
I could do that. I just don't want to do it with.
I got way too much. I can barely play League.
I have to do that by
What a
myself.
deal breaker.
Exactly. A deal breaker. It's a good way to put it.
So there is an actual OU Gold team who I'm pretty sure beat the Pokes in.
They did,
scrims
yeah,
Yeah,
recently.
I also played them last night
Sorry.
in a scrim. I was
Yeah,
subbing
they
for a
played
different
our
OSU
other team. Yeah, no, after they played us, I messaged him and I was like, wait, so you guys are not like, because how he described it to us before we played them was that is that since they were a lower team, we were told that they weren't supposed to be as good as the OKLCS teams, and I was like, you guys are like light years ahead of every OKLCS
Yeah,
team.
it
that
was
is
ridiculous.
affiliated with OU. I was like, where are these guys? Seriously, they were really good for like 3 silvers and 2 golds.
4 3-hour practices and 3 1-hour workouts. Oh, you trying to go hard. That actually sounds kind of difficult to throw into the regular college schedule anyway.
Yeah.
It does. It definitely does. That's for sure. I try to make it to the gym as much as I can, and yeah, that hasn't been happening over the last month or two, I'd say. Unfortunately.
So you guys are set up to play in like a half an hour. I don't want to keep you too much from that, but what are we going to see in that game? I'm going to start with Joe Barrow just to make you talk a little bit more.
I mean, I'm pretty sure if we lose this, we're really like all but eliminated from playoffs. We need a lot to go our way. So we're probably gonna be going hard as we can as gold players without inting.
No promises.
I know how to
I
do
think
that.
I think we can take advantage of their mid lane
Oh, yeah.
Oh, baby.
because I'd say Heimel and I are one of the better mid jungles in the league. So try to
Yeah,
work it.
I get tilted pretty
it
hard
rolling.
with jungle duos. I'll give you that.
I wanted to ask, was the Heimel name change the big catalyst for this season, like Scrambles is pretending it is? Is that
No, not at all. I didn't even notice the name change, although I wasn't a fan of it when he went to Charade.
so? Meme is dead. It's not the Heimel name that's propelling ST6.
Denied.
It is not.
Rip.
So
Rip
then,
Heimel.
Celercia, are you looking at their bottom lane as a potential weakness?
Yeah, I mean, I would say overall, when looking at their team so far, their bot lane seems to be the weakest point in my opinion. Not too worried about it. Wink, wink.
Oof. Wow.
That's just been the most inconsistent
God.
part.
Yeah.
Let
Or
him live, Kenzie.
roster.
Whatever.
Jesus. Then again, your bot lane does play a. They do pop off sometimes. I'd be kind of worried about them.
When they do pop off, it's GG.
Like
Oh,
what
yeah?
against? I'm looking at the stats. GSM, they did pretty good against them, but you guys ended up losing that in the end.
Or are you looking at them right now?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we have a 10 to get leads and then not know how to pick our fights.
I
And then
see.
just
I see
lose.
you play some Lissandra. That better not be the aftershock Lissandra.
No, that's boring.
Okay.
That's for top
I was gonna
laners.
say, if you want me to respect you after this match, like, you better not be taking that. Or any of that glacial augment crap. Keep that out of my games.
So, do we have any bets on the table? Are we leaving up Joe Barrow's LeBlanc in exchange for Kilgar's Echo, or
Oh. If you guys beat us, I'll buy a SEAL Team 6 mug.
I think you'd have to like custom order that.
We'll get it done.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get it done. I got Jack to do a tilt over pokes mug.
Yes, he did.
Hint, hint. Anyone want to go to the Get Wrecked store?
you gifted me with that logo at the start of the season, and I haven't had a good
I did.
opportunity to use it yet.
I'm
so
sorry.
I've been
sorry.
sitting on it all year, man.
Maybe we'll get to fire it up after this week.
Yeah, maybe.
So
I play like I did last weekend.
So you guys need a win to clinch number 1 seed, basically. So all but locked for that number 1 seed. Is there a team in Noxus that you're looking at in that number 4 spot that worries you a little bit going into playoffs?
As far as what we saw, it looked like we would have almost guaranteed play Ghost from what I saw. And Ghost is
Right.
probably the only one I'd be kind of worried about. If it was anyone else, I think we'd probably it'd be pretty easy, honestly.
And then
As far as both the conferences goes, be below number 3, we haven't really ever had an issue with it.
And then Joe Barrow, if you guys qualify, you're basically locked into that number 4 slot.
Number 4.
Yeah. Is there? Are you worried looking at Hardest Road or Propulsion over there?
I mean, Hardest Road has Siren, who's a mid laner turned jungle, so I think
Yeah.
Imo can have
Uh,
some fun with him, toying with whatever his current name is. I think he's like Platinum 1
Yeah, guys, how's that? You guys
OP
traded
or
for
something like that
Cyrene.
now.
What happened to Holt?
And then they have Mehuli, who's all right. And then I think the rest of the team's pretty solid, but like they're players we've seen before, we played against before, and Hardest Road's pretty much double agents. And I think we lost like a 2-1 last year to you guys, so I don't think
2-0.
it's much. There's that much of a difference. Skill-wise, it's just bringing it all together is what we struggle with.
Yeah, I will say that last split it was a 2-0 during the regular season, and we scrimmed twice and went 2-0 in both of them. So, yikes.
Got to drop that stat real quick.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that.
First time Talon in 3 months, 18 kills. No big deal.
No.
Was that when Talon was mega busted though? Before you did, when you
Honestly,
didn't
I don't
have
think
to
so.
both
It was
Amon?
just we were like, we'll give Joe Barrow his LeBlanc and see what happens. I'm like, I'm gonna play Talon. This is supposed to be a good matchup.
That's what
Maybe I'll
Talon
play
does.
Talon
I
tonight.
remember that scrim. I killed you like 3 times, and then there was a drag fight, and we threw it, and
Oh,
Talon
man.
got a triple kill, and it was just over from there.
Yeah,
Feels
I had
bad.
no idea how
Oh.
to play that lane. I was I was destroyed at first, and then next thing I know, I'm like, oh hey, I can 1v3 as Talon.
Look at that. When did that happen?
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Dude, Talon is annoying, honestly.
Cancer.
I hate playing against Talon.
Disgusting.
So, Jobero is the last question. Does Heimel still just like watch his Nexus defense from against Islow just over and over again on repeat? Or
I think he's a pretty humble guy. I think he's like, no big deal. It's like when he scores a touchdown, you'd hand the ball to the referee. He wouldn't do a crazy celebration.
that feels so
His
opposite.
girlfriend's actually saying that he
I
does
would say that.
over and over.
Yeah, that feels
I
so
wa-
opposite from how he plays in game. That's kind of interesting.
I'm not sure who to believe.
Yeah, no. When I asked him if he wanted to do this, he totally pushed it off on Joe Barrow. I was like, hey, dude, get on this podcast with us, and he's like, that's not really my thing. Like, all right, that's fine. I respect it.
So anyway, I want to get you guys in more than enough time to get to your game here. So, Kilgar Celercia.
Oh my god.
So
Sorry, go ahead.
Kilgar Celercia, if you guys want to go ahead, give us some final thoughts, and then we'll have Joe Barrow with the counterpoint, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Some final thoughts on the matchup?
Yep.
Why don't you go first, Kenzie?
Oh
Celercia.
boy. Or Celercia.
Sorry.
I'm actually really excited to play the game, especially since it is OU, and we're kind of getting towards that Bedlam time of the year. I think it's gonna be really exciting. I'm
Got it.
super pumped to see their jungler in action. Actually,
What a generic response.
I'm just saying. I'm
Not
trying to
nice.
keep it not
A gold
so spicy.
response.
Okay.
A gold response. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I always kind of like these because like the matches like with GSM and stuff like it's so much like just like what's the word I'm looking for, like we have to play like the whole time, so like some of these matches are more fun for me personally because I feel like I get more freedom in what my team lets me do. So
All right, Joe
We'll
Barrow,
see.
what are your final thoughts on the matchup tonight?
I think we're coming in as underdogs, so we're gonna try our hardest. And finally, John McLeod is a bitch, and that's all I have left to say.
keeps it quick,
Yeah, I can't
concise.
I can't necessarily provide a counterpoint to that.
Was not the NA response.
Our next
The EU response.
our next broadcast, Saturday at 11 a.m. Winged and I are going to be casting gold games. We've got Indigo Sky
Oh,
versus
no.
Snek, Ghost versus Jingo Squad, Propulsion versus Omega Wolves, and TLP versus Oklahoma Gold Rush. And then at 4 p.m. we've got Gold with Vid and Hunger Bunger, Power Flashes versus Vicious and Delicious, Gecko Slammer Armageddon versus 100 Steves, SEAL Team 6 versus OSU, the Big Bedlam game, and then Bingo Squad versus Road. Maybe not in that order because he always likes to mess up the order that I already assigned him for no reason. And then Sunday at 3, we've got Diamond with Vid and Mark Hames, I believe. All of those broadcasts, by the way, if you tune in, you'll have a chance to win skins. We're going to be giving away 2 skins during every broadcast. You'll get to pick whichever skin you want if you win the giveaway. So make
Ooh.
sure you tune in. I know specifically on mine, we're going to have a little bit of trivia because I think that's the fairest way that I can give it away on my stream. I don't know what Vid's got cooked up for his, so we'll have to see. So get your trivia brains on, and we'll see you at 11 a.m. on Saturday.
Big brains.
Next
Ooh.
week, we've got the podcast again at 8 p.m. We're going to recap this week, preview next week, which is the last week of the Gold regular season, and our interviewer is going to be Ghost's top laner Derisive Oxen. And then just really want to make sure you guys are
Rip.
looking forward. Our last 2 weeks of the podcast, we might do a post-season one, but the last 2 planned weeks of the podcast are going to be our Festivus weeks. For week 10, we're going to be doing the airing of grievances. Basically, if anybody whatsoever wants to take 3 to 5 minutes to say whatever they want on the podcast, you have
Oh,
you
man.
have the floor. So all of you Diamond players that I see trash talking in the Diamond chat, you get 3 to 5 minutes to trash talk whoever you want going into LAN. Any gold
Those
players,
guys have got some good game.
yeah, any gold players who want to come and take grievance with Kilgar just trash talking them, or with Joe Barrow maybe calling them a bitch, they're welcome to come on too.
Oh my gosh.
So that'll be week 10. Week 11 is going to be the Feats of Strength from Festivus, where we're going to be doing all of our postseason awards. Every team captain will get a vote here within the next week or two on the top players in the league, the top teams in the league, whatever else I feel like awarding this split, and then we'll reveal those on the week 11 cast right before LAN. Then we have the LAN tournament, and then afterwards we'll probably recap it, but that one isn't really planned out. So, yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you guys all week 10. Thanks, Joe Barrow already departed, but thanks Kilgar and Celestia for joining us today.
I saw he left. I was gonna say, give Joe Barrow a break on calling people a bitch. He's got a trash talk like that. He can't show it up in the game. So,
But thanks guys
think
for coming
anyone
on.
else is gonna
Sorry,
come
it's
on.
a little last minute right before your game, but
Oh no, it's
That's
all
fine.
right. We got prepared. I think we're good to go.
I'll be excited to see both of you guys at LAN probably.
Thank you.
Um,
Hopefully, unless this ghost person has something up their sleeve,
We're just gonna go from undefeated to losing every match after this.
just super
fine.
tilted.
I don't want to say the scrambles line, but we do know that OSU has a history of losing. So,
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Anyway, with that said, I think we're gonna go ahead and call it a little bit shorter of a cast. Sorry that Scrambles couldn't be here. We didn't get to hear if he was
Yeah.
actually reformed or not, so that'll just continue to be a mystery.
Man.
I was excited for the nice guy scrambles. What happened?
Easy clap.
Apparently, he's just on Wi-Fi on a laptop and couldn't connect for long enough.
I thought maybe you guys have him locked up because I haven't
Yeah.
heard Scrambles talk in the last week, so I haven't heard his voice. I've only
Something's
seen
a
him
little
post.
fishy.
Yeah, something's not adding up here.
I'm just as curious as you guys are. I'm like the baby admin, the outside LKC admin, so
You guys
maybe
think
not full
Ari
access into it.
like took him captive or something? Took over his Discord.
It's a possibility. Although I don't
We'll
think
find out.
I don't think Ari's actually that positive, so I'm really not sure. She was about ready to flame somebody earlier today. I don't remember who it
Oh
was.
man.
I wonder who that was.
Anyway, we'll see you guys next week. We'll have again Ghost Derisive Oxen will be our guest. So
Awesome.
Neat.